today I'm chatting with John. And John, will you pronounce your last name?
It's Kovacevic, but
That's
people
fun.
pronounce it a lot of different ways, as you might imagine, Jess. So,
Yeah, I love it though, Kovacevic. That's really fun to say,
yeah,
actually.
it's fun. It's fun. My kids love saying it, and the teacher today's their first day of school, and the teacher always says it differently every first day of school. So it's great.
Oh, I love it. So fun. So John just finished his first month in academy, and that's what I want to talk about today. So we all know that it's near impossible to solve all bottlenecks and completely scale your business in 30 days. But I want to zoom in on John's accomplishments during his very first month because it's an inspiration for all. So John came to us with the goal of
I'm blushing. I'm blushing, Jess.
He came to us with the goal of creating a sustainable business model via a productized offer and better delivery. And in just 30 days, he's defined his core offering, designed a streamlined delivery process, which is carving his path to systemize and scale. So, John, I'd love for you to take 2 minutes to share a little bit about who you serve and what you do.
Sure. So we're agency SOS. I'm a sort of traditional advertising creative director. I went out on my own a little over a year ago to open my own agency after dreaming about it for years and years and years. And like most new ad agency owners, I sort of modeled it off of the big ad agencies that I'd been at for years and years and years. And about a year in, I realized that that is a recipe for early death, probably my early death, and that taking the big model and then just trying to do it with fewer people is just not sustainable. So I've been kind of following alt agency. Greg's ads had retargeted me successfully for over a year, and I'd watched all of his content. And everything that he had been talking about really spoke to me. The idea that we could productize our offering, simplify it, and find a way so that I didn't have to be involved in every single project that we do going forward. So that was sort of the motivation to get involved in the program.
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So before you started the program, right, like what was going on?
Um, it's probably every cliche that a small agency owner feels and thinks. And I as I was watching kind of the alt agency content and Greg's content, I always thought, God, he's talking exactly about me because he's talking to me. Just we were successful. We had strong profits in our first year, good clients, although we didn't really have a model for sort of the outbound marketing that we needed to do. Was sort of relationships that we already had that were supplying the agency in our first year. But we were just saying yes to whatever anybody wanted. Every project was its own bespoke thing. I was doing a million proposals, and all of those things, while fun and fine, are not the recipe that I could just see like the years going on and doing the same thing over and over again. So finding a way to have a repeatable process and productizing some of our programs was incredibly appealing to me.
Absolutely. So we talked about that specific problem of too many offerings, too much fat in the offerings, not having an infrastructure. Let's talk about how that felt. So how did that feel and how did that impact other areas of your life?
Yeah, the tricky thing is, like a lot of kind of agency people, like I like doing all of the things that we were doing. I mean, that's one of the reasons I started my own agency, is because I wanted to do a little bit of everything. And so it's hard to sort of choose your favorite child. And the real problem was that I couldn't seem to like get out of I couldn't break the pattern that I was in. And I couldn't like make a decision about which one should be the one where we invested in. And that was frustrating. I'm sort of a workaholic anyway, so the hours weren't killing me. Although I'm only a year in, and I could see that like 5 years from now, my wife was not going to be talking to me anymore if I didn't have a little bit more of a manageable workload. So it was sort of a combination of those things, like just knowing that there was a better way to do it and not being stuck and not really knowing like what are the steps I needed to take in order to get there.
Absolutely. All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. You joined Academy, you started making some changes with us. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing was, like I'd watched the videos and Greg is very generous with the content and sharing kind of what you need to do, but it's different. It's hard to find like, okay, I'm just going to figure this all out by myself and then make it happen. Like you sort of need to get involved with the program and have the infrastructure of multiple people supporting you, of a curriculum that kind of walks you through step by step. And the thing that I got a lot of value out of Jess was just the ability to like dig into the curriculum and then like rewatch it again and again and again when I got to a point that wasn't clear or I was having a hard time with. And then the support system to ask really specific questions about your situation and get that feedback in real time just got me unstuck and helped me sort of make the decisions that had been a long time coming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me more about how you're doing things differently now than before.
Yeah, well, I'm a month in. I don't want to oversell, the transformation quite yet. I mean, I feel like made a lot of progress in that I was essentially have 10 or 11 different products or offerings that I was offering. And just the ability to narrow that down to two has been enormously clarifying. It's given my marketing a lot more focus and I'm much more pointed. So I have a clear core offer now. I'm in the process of reaching out to kind of my first wave of people to enroll them in this pilot program to test it and learn about it. And again, what's nice about the program is that there's sort of an you sort of think like I got to figure everything out before I do anything. And I think what you guys are real clear about is like just take it in little steps. Figure out this, do this, move forward, and then figure out the next thing. Because if you try to look too many steps ahead, you just get paralyzed and can't move forward.
Right. Exactly. And we said you're a month in, but in that month, you've set the framework, you've set the foundation, right? You can't move forward if you have 11 different offerings and all this bespoke work. So narrowing it down to that core offer, now you're set up to just take it on. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
And the other part of it too, Jess, is just the taking the stuff that is in your head, the stuff that we just do for our clients as a matter of course, and that you don't even think about, but that what the program helps you do is to just get all that stuff out of your head and onto paper so that you can better understand the process that you go through to serve your clients and be really critical about what you need to do in that process and what you don't need to do in that process so that you're able to package it in a way that is more repeatable. And that's, I'm just at the beginning of that journey, but that's the thing I'm probably most excited about.
Huge. Getting it out of your head onto paper not only helps you see exactly what your process is, but starts to set up for you scaling your team, passing on, offloading. Absolutely. That's a great, great point. So would you say there was any mindset shift that occurred in this first month?
Yeah, I feel like the big one is just, you can't be a perfectionist. You can't have it all figured out. It's not going to be all buttoned up. You can't have every single scenario worked out before you move forward. You just have to move forward. And, I'm really early in the process. I'm still nervous about the things I don't know. And I know I've probably already made some mistakes and I'm going to find out as I'm talking to clients what I've messed up. But the motivation to just kind of make some of these decisions at long last and move forward has been really powerful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say you're nervous about what you don't know, but if you think back a month ago, you were probably nervous about what you didn't know about, defining one offer, right? And now you're there.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Like before I started the program, I talked about this with Wakar on the call when we were first talking about it. You're sort of afraid of changing because it's like the current situation is messed up, but you know it, and so it's less scary. And so the fear that you have to sort of overcome to kind of push past that to find something new has been one of the most valuable parts of the program.
oh, absolutely. Well said. Well said. So, to kind of sum things up, basically what I hear you're saying is you were struggling because you were offering too wide, too much, you were spread too thin, and you didn't really have clarity on where or what to prioritize. And now you're rolling with your productized offer, you're confident in your repeatable process, and you're ready to get out there and start marketing it.
Exactly. You sound like a before and after ad. Like I was getting sand kicked in my face, and then I got the alt agency strengthenizer or whatever.
There
And
you go.
yeah,
There you go. Well, that's amazing. We're incredibly pumped for you. We know this is just the beginning, but definitely appreciate you sharing that. A couple other questions. What were some concerns or fears? And you kind of touched on this with the change, but what were some concerns or fears when joining Academy?
one of them is just are you going to find the time to put in the work? And that that was the thing. I'd been watching the content for probably a year or more, and had just never really kind of gotten to the point where I need to dedicate some time to resolving these issues. And so making the decision to do it is you when you make that decision, you feel like, oh, what else am I going to, is it going to be one more thing I'm adding on top of my
Right.
existing schedule? And I think what the program does a good job of is first helping you carve out the space that you need to invest in the program, and which is a really smart first thing to do with people. And so that part of it has been really helpful. I'm so excited about this work. Like I find myself doing this work instead of actually working on my client work, which I gotta rebalance a little bit. But it's been exciting and motivating to get started.
Absolutely. And that's huge. And John, one of the reasons that you've been so successful already is because you have dedicated the time, you've protected that time, and you've put in the time, and that will make or break your success, right? If you don't put the time in, no change is going to happen. So you're a great example of putting in the time and seeing it pay off. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
So thanks for sharing that. So one last question. What would you say to somebody who might be on the fence about working with us?
Well, you probably don't need to be on the fence. I mean, I think you sort of have to, you need to dive in when you're ready to dive in. And for me, the kind of long ramp of watching kind of quietly in the corner and checking out what all agency had to offer was an important part of getting ready to act. So I felt like when I finally made the decision to join the program, I was hyper motivated to like, let's get going. Let's start working on this. So there's nothing about the program that is going to make you do this. You have to do it yourself. So if you're ready to actually put in that work and start to transform the way that you work as an agency, then it can be very successful, and I would recommend it.
Yes, very well said. Very well said. Well, to your credit, you've executed, you've stayed the course, you've done the work. So, congratulations again on the success up until this point. We're super excited to see what comes in the future and really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure, Jess. Thanks. Now I've got to actually do it. Now that you've actually asked me these questions, I got to follow through and actually make this thing.
Right, right.
So,
We're
yeah,
excited to see what happens the next 30 days.
there's no backing out now. So
Nope, you're in it. You're in it. Well, thanks, John. Appreciate the time, and we'll let you get back at it.
thanks, Jess.
Bye, John.
Bye.